Please be seated as Tiffany Steinwert, Dean of Religious and Spiritual Life, delivers the invocation.
Let us be together. Here, on the precipice of possibility, we stand together at this mountaintop moment. Though the peaks and valleys of our individual paths may look different, we are bound together by this, our collective sojourn. Soon, this moment will be over, and life will lead us onward. But right here, right now, we are called to savor this time together as we celebrate and honor our shared journey. And so, in this moment, grant that we might put aside our fears and uncertainties and instead allow ourselves to be utterly awash in a wellspring of pride and accomplishment. Grant that we might hold together the bittersweet beauty of both the tears and the triumphs that have marked our time here. Grant that we might offer gratitude to those who accompanied us, all those who held us and guided us, who cheered us on and picked us up when we stumbled. And above all, in this moment, grant that we might recognize the potential we possess, known not only in the academic achievements we honor this day, but also in the power that lies deep within, forged through fires of struggle and resilience, a steadfast hope in the power of vulnerability and compassion to move mountains, a spirited determination that propels us beyond self-doubt to acknowledge the truth of who we are, bright, brilliant, and beloved. May this moment be for us a sign and a symbol of all we have been, all we are, and all we seek to become. Amen.
Thank you, Dean Steinwert. On behalf of the trustees, faculty, staff, alumni, and the Wellesley class of 2018, I welcome you to the college's 140th commencement exercises. What a glorious day, and I'm not just talking about the weather that has held up for us. We are gathered here to celebrate our Wellesley students who received their degrees today. This group is tremendously diverse in interests, backgrounds, and goals. But what they share is equally important, a commitment to making the most of their great talents and gifts, a lifelong connection to each other and to Wellesley College. All of today's graduates have worked extraordinarily hard, but each has also benefited from the support and love of countless others. Many of you are here today, family members, mentors, and friends. This day would not be possible without you. We celebrate you as well. A special welcome to those among you who are yourselves Wellesley alumni. I also want to acknowledge the many who could not be present today. I think of beloved family and friends unable to travel for whatever reasons, illness, expense, safety, or unavoidable conflicts. I think of those who've passed on from this life but remain with us in spirit. You are not forgotten. We honor and thank you. To the wonderful Purple Class of 2018, this is the second time that I've had the honor of presiding over a Wellesley Commencement ceremony. But my appreciation for this day and what it means is stronger than ever before. Every day, the power of Wellesley has grown clearer to me. It has been my great joy and my great privilege to share these years with you. And it's not over yet. Today marks the culmination of your Wellesley student years. This day is your day. We could not be happier for you. So now, I'm pleased to invite to the stage co-presidents of the class of 2018, Elena Mitra and Jennifer Wang, to introduce our student speaker.
Thank you, President Johnson. Good morning, and thank you for joining us in celebration of our Royal Purple Class of 2018. On behalf of Class Council, we want to welcome all of the family, friends, and guests joining us today. Having served on Class Council throughout our years at Wellesley, Alina and I have had the privilege of seeing our class grow into compassionate, resilient, and thoughtful members of the community.
This year's student speaker embodies all those qualities in the work she does on campus. Many of you may have met her at L Table, where she's the general manager, seen her on stage at the Shakespeare House, or on the field playing for the Whiptails. Wherever she is on campus, she brings light and optimism to our community. It is with so much love and admiration that I introduce the 2018 student speaker, my beautiful friend, our classmate, Marley Forest.
To the members of the Board of Trustees, President Johnson, distinguished speaker Tracy K. Smith, faculty, staff, family, and friends, welcome. And to my fellow graduates of the class of 2018, congratulations. I have to say, out of all the difficult tasks that Wellesley has thrown at me over the last 4 years, writing this speech has had to be by far one of the hardest, with the exception of Econ 101. Because while writing this speech didn't require me to draw any graphs or do any simple math calculations, it did ask me to reflect on 4 of the most demanding, richest, and joyful years of my life. And it asked me to do so in a way that would resonate with each of you. A task in and of itself impossible, since the power of Wellesley is that there's no one way to experience it. We have all found different communities here, different spaces that make us feel held and connected. We have found different disciplines that inspire us, professors who have given us glimpses of our capabilities and challenged us to push our thinking beyond the borders of what we thought possible. But amongst these individual paths, we are also bound together by what we have in common. We have shared this campus, from the mega blizzard of our first year to the several fall springs of the senior semester. And while New England weather may have bonded us together in its indecisiveness, it also did so in its beauty. How many of us have been awed by the magic of a lamppost catching the light of snowflakes at night? Or awed in the spring when every tree at Wellesley erupts in flowers, filling grassy spaces with blankets full of our friends? How many of us have memories of walking around Lake Waban with a friend, or with a crush, or maybe just by ourselves? I bring up these moments not to be overly sentimental, but because I think there is power in us sharing this collective home for 4 years. We may have all had different Wellesley experiences, but they all happened here, together. And while I would love to talk about the beauty of Wellesley all day, this speech would be dishonest and unfair to our time here to pretend that all memories of Wellesley have been so starry-eyed. It's true that for many of us, Wellesley has been a place of incomprehensible love. But it's also true that many of us have faced difficult times here, some of us perhaps even the worst of our lives. There have been nights in which we didn't think we could stay here, nights when we questioned if we had been admitted by mistake or if we would be better suited somewhere else. There have been days in which we felt anger and frustration towards this institution, which through our advocacy we have continued to demand live up to its promised values. These past 4 years, we have lost friendships, tragedies have struck our lives, and the world outside has turned darker time and time again, bringing into question our safety and our futures. I bring up these harder moments not to dampen this day of celebration, but rather to acknowledge the resilience that has grown from them, for it's also part of what has brought us to be the class sitting here today. Wellesley is not perfect, and to pretend that it is would be a disservice to the complexity of this place and the depths of these past 4 years of our lives. As you celebrate today, embrace this complexity as part of your Wellesley experience, both the successes and the obstacles. So, Wellesley Sibs, how do we make sense of these 4 years? Now that we're sitting here together, what has been important about this place, and what will we carry with us after we're kicked off campus at 8 p.m. tonight? There are many things I could list that distinguish Wellesley, but when I think about my time here, there's one attribute that stands apart from the rest, a factor which, in its essence, I believe embodies all that is most unique, encompassing, and prevailing about Wellesley, and that is community. I acknowledge that I am only who I've become these past 4 years because of you all. What you all have taught me, called me out for, the ways I've been hurt, but more powerfully, the ways I have been loved. The people on this campus have fundamentally shaped me to be the person standing on this stage today. I challenge you now, Sibs, sitting here on June 1st, 2018, look around you. Who in this community do you carry within your sense of self, and how have they shaped you to be the person graduating today? That is Wellesley. We are Wellesley. This community in its essence is what is powerful and important and critical about this experience and this place. You do not need me to tell you that the world we are entering into is not an easy one. It's true and has always been true that the different challenges and barriers we will face will not be equal to one another, and the fights we will have to fight will not always be fair. But as I look at you all, my family of the last 4 years, I see looking back at me a vision of possibility, of strength, and of change. And therefore, Purple Class of 2018, this is my charge to you. You as an individual hold tremendous insight and potential, a mixture of knowledge and an awareness that is unique to only you. Recognize your ambitions and your dreams and be proud of them. And then, in recognizing your influence as one person, multiply that by 35,000. That is the number of living Wellesley alums worldwide whose ranks we are about to join. If we choose, we have a global army of brilliant, driven, and powerful peers who hold within them this same community that we do. That is not insignificant. That is extraordinary. And so I leave you with this thought. As individuals, we can each make a difference in this world. But as a community, we can and we will change it. It has been the biggest honor of my life to share this community with you all these past 4 years. Here's to a lifetime of changing the world together. Thank you.
Thank you, Marley. Thank you for those powerful and inspirational words. Now it is my great honor to welcome today's speaker, U.S. Poet Laureate and Pulitzer Prize winner, Tracy K. Smith. Professor Smith's presence today is especially fitting at a moment when poetry blooms at Wellesley as perhaps never before. This spring, our own Professor Frank Bedart received a Pulitzer for his collection, Half Light, Collected Poems, 1965 to 2016. Right around this same time, Wellesley's slam poetry team reached the finals of the International College Union Poetry Slam Invitational. Wellesley Out Loud, that's the name of our team, finished 4th out of 66 teams, a tremendously impressive showing. This was only the second time that a team from a women's college reached the competition's final round. Poetry is often seen as an elite art form, something that has little to do with the daily lives of ordinary people. Tracy K. Smith stands determined to combat this misconception. She has spoken eloquently about using poetry to bring people together. Poetry, she once said, gives us practice caring about others and accepting that their perspectives can be as valid and vital as our own. Since being named U.S. Poet Laureate last year, the nation's 22nd, she has traveled the country from New Mexico to South Carolina to Kentucky, an emissary for what she has called the good news of poetry. Here, as elsewhere, I've been struck by the ways that her work is profoundly countercultural and in the best possible sense. In a world of battling voices, she urges us towards an active and eager listening. In a world of speed, she urges us to slow down and pay attention. In a world of conflict and division, she urges us to forge connections. Much is at stake here, a fact that is not lost on the poet herself. Indeed, as far back as 2012, she penned a Wall Street Journal essay with the title, "Why Poetry is Essential for Democracy." Tracy K. Smith was born not far from here in Falmouth, the youngest of 5 children. She grew up in Fairfield, California, where her father was stationed in the Air Force. Following his retirement from the military, he went on to work on the Hubble Space Telescope as an optical engineer with NASA, an extraterrestrial perspective she would later draw on in her writing. The poetry seed took root early. As a child, Professor Smith was captivated by Emily Dickinson's "I'm Nobody, Who Are You?" But it was as an undergraduate at Harvard that she truly discovered poetry as, in her words, a living force. During this time, she interned with the legendary Dark Room Collective, a Boston-based community of African-American writers founded in 1998. After receiving her bachelor's in English and American Literature and Afro-American Studies, she went on to earn an MFA in Creative Writing at Columbia University. Since then, Professor Smith has published 4 collections of poetry, including the Pulitzer Prize-winning Life on Mars, and most recently, Wade in the Water, which draws on letters and statements of both slave owners and African Americans who served as soldiers in the Civil War. When I spoke to Frank Bedart about it, he marveled at its transmutation of history into art. He said, "You believe the poems because you believe the voices." Along with 2 other collections, Duende and The Body's Question, she's also the author of a memoir, Ordinary Light, nominated for the National Book Award in 2015. Currently, the Roger S. Berlin Class of '52 Professor of the Humanities at Princeton, Tracy K. Smith has directed Princeton's creative writing program for the past 3 years. In this capacity, she's seen firsthand how all students stand to benefit from the study of poetry, future scientists, lawyers, and bankers, no less than aspiring writers. At the heart of Tracy K. Smith's artistry is a deep appreciation for the forces that unite the seemingly far-flung. Another great Wellesley poet, Dan Chasen, highlighted this in a New Yorker piece praising life on Mars, and here's how he described it. Smith's book of elegies for her father, an optical engineer on the Hubble telescope, unites race, space, David Bowie, motherhood, the 70s, and vintage sci-fi, among many other things. In this vast, almost dizzying range that allows Professor Smith to so powerfully bridge diverse ideas and worlds, it is one of the many reasons this year's graduates were so excited when she accepted their invitation. I think in particular of a conversation I had with one student, an astronomy major, who was so thrilled. And she was thrilled because she said to me how Smith's poems brought her science to life in entirely new ways. So Professor Smith, on behalf of all of us, welcome.
Thank you. It is my pleasure and my tremendous honor to address you as the graduating class of 2018. You belong to a remarkable generation. In my work as an educator and my life as a citizen, I've been heartened and edified by the ways members of your generation have chosen to see and to act in the world. I'm inspired by the strides you've taken toward fostering a more welcoming and compassionate space for people across lines of gender identity and sexual orientation, by your willingness to engage in difficult yet necessary conversations about racial bias and understanding, by your studious determination to mitigate the oversights and failures of those whose delight at what they can produce, control, and sell has wrought havoc upon the environment, by your willingness to advocate on behalf of those whose safety and security is threatened for any number of reasons. I've marveled at the empathetic genius by which you are able to embrace, employ, and devise new terms for a larger, more malleable sense of selfhood, at the moral questions you pause to formulate and ponder, even in the face of all the many kinds of progress you have begun to drive. Like many people concerned by the various urgencies characterizing our time, I struggle with worry, even as I strive to be an agent of thoughtful change. But I feel stronger for your example and for the fact of your presence, your resonant voices, your nimble minds, and your huge hearts. I say all of that in order to open these remarks with my humble and sincere thanks. Thank you for finding time amid all the many things you as college students must keep up with, for caring about the world beyond this beautiful campus. Thank you for consenting to live with the vulnerability that comes with following your convictions. Thank you for resisting the safe and self-serving choices that would facilitate rewards without struggle. Thank you for belonging to a generation that has so far proven itself unafraid of the notion of struggle. Thank you for reminding me that struggle fosters growth and that rewards alone are a distraction from the larger work each of you, each of us, is here to do, which is to evolve in mind and spirit and to change the lives of others for the better. Because I'm a poet, I first thought I'd speak to you today about language. I thought I'd urge you as you move away from this institution that places a premium upon thought and speech, upon intellectual rigor and mindful social endeavor, to hold the language that enters your ears and mind and imagination to a standard of clarity, intelligence, and integrity. I imagined I'd urge you, as I urge myself, not to allow the market for products and services, apps and devices to delimit your terms of need, discernment, wonder, and worth. Not to let rating, liking, following, and sharing supersede your ability to envision, discern, imagine, empathize, interrogate, and resist. I think that's an important message, but it's not as important as the underlying capacity that I believe animates all of the many strides your generation is already making, all of the manners of change and growth you're already fighting to foster. So, instead of language, what I want to talk about today is love. I used to think of love as a visceral experience, something that envelops you because of the way another person makes you feel. In love, I found courage, a willingness to race forward into new places, new experiences, new risks. The world became large for me when romantic love became real, perhaps because I myself felt full with new capacities for thought and need and feeling. I wasn't alone. The annals of popular music, archives of cinema, and a great parcel of the canon of enduring literature concern themselves with love between two people. But now, because I am a parent perhaps, I'm striving for the courage and the skill to embody another manner of love. I find myself asking what might happen if, without asking anything of you in return, I were to choose to see you, whoever you are, as another version of myself, one worthy of my acknowledgement, my concern, my devotion. One day, walking my dog in an open stretch of land across from my house, I saw a person walking a massive dog, a breed with a thick coat of fur, suggesting it had originally been bred for an Arctic climate. Actually, my dog saw them first, and she went nuts, barking, spinning on her lead, exercising her utter disregard for anything other than instinct. I pulled her along, trying to remain calm, but feeling the shame that always arises in me at such times as a dog owner who lacks control of her dog, which is to say, as an imposter and a bad citizen. Ignoring me, my dog somehow managed to shake her head and free herself of the leash. I'm not sure how it happened because her collar remained clasped, but one moment the lead was taut and the next I was holding a leash in my hand that was intact but unattached. My dog ran up to accost the other dog and its owner. I could see her circling around them, growling, barking, challenging their very right to exist in space and time. When I caught up, I was deeply ashamed. The other dog's good behavior cast my own Coco's in a still worse light. And it pained me to look at the other human, because I knew that doing so might embolden him to scold or berate me. I fastened the leash back onto Coco's collar and glanced up timidly to apologize. And the other dog owner, a youngish man with glasses, looked me in the eye and, smiling, radiating what felt to me at the time as sheer grace, said simply, "It's okay." It's a slight story on the surface, but underneath there's the proverbial ocean. In the week prior, my husband and I had been pressured to withdraw our young sons from a private nursery school because of their classroom behavior. Behavior that would later, but not yet, not at the time of the walk I'm remembering, align us with the many other children and their families living with autism. I felt hurt because the situation had been handled by the nursery school with what seemed a brusque disregard for their worth. They had been observed for 2 short days and rejected as problematic, unteachable. I struggled to understand how much of the preschool director's dismissal of their potential had to do with race. Perhaps none, but the pain I felt had activated the reserve of pain that had amassed over the course of my life from having been sometimes preemptively judged as threatening or unworthy of bother because of my race. So, when the dog owner looked at me, smiled, and said, "It's okay," he restored me, and even my sons, who weren't even with Coco and me on the walk, to a place of innate worth. He pulled my mind from the spin cycle of anger and hurt and powerlessness that the preschool situation had created and sent me into my day, my life, restored. There are other larger examples of compassionate acts, but this small scene comes to mind for me as embodying a lot of what compassion means. Another person, a stranger, treated me as I was momentarily incapable of treating myself. I find myself thinking a lot these days about whether love is a principle compatible with our current version of civic selfhood or nationhood. We tend to avoid that word when we talk about politics, about demographics and policy, employing in its place a term like tolerance. But tolerance is meager. Tolerance means I will make space for you beside me on some kind of imaginary national bus, then slide back over so you don't get too much of what I never stopped thinking is mine. Tolerance is the bare minimum I can muster without getting disgusted and stomping away. Tolerance is a barely disguised foul look on my face as I glance across some line from me and us to you and them. Tolerance requires no cognitive shift. Tolerance forgives my prejudices, my innate sense of bias and authority. At best, tolerance supports the idea that your needs must be as important to you as mine are to me. But love is a radical shift. Love tells me that your needs must be as important to me as mine are, that I can only truly honor and protect myself by honoring and protecting you. As with romantic love, that benchmark in many of our lives, compassionate civic regard, love, assures me that giving you what you need is a way of ministering to myself, to the us that you and I together make. It's a beautiful idea, I think, but it's not simple, not sweetly pat. For in order to embrace love, I must move past fear, past a fixation on my own claim to power or authority. In order to embrace love, I must let go of the social or emotional avarice that says loving you will deplete me. I think the challenge incumbent upon your generation, upon all of us really, but because of your age, perhaps you stand the best chance of meeting it. The great challenge within or beneath the challenges of climate change, school safety, supporting and defending one another's mental health, the challenge of a fair and humane immigration policy, and of a host of competing urgencies, is the challenge of loving in such a way that your sense of security, gratitude, honor, belief, joy, and worth affirms and amplifies those things in others. The greatest challenge incumbent upon you is learning to love others in ways they may be incapable of loving themselves, and of trusting them, giving them the reason, the wish to love you in kind. But I think it's possible to meet this challenge. After all, love is world creating. Who hasn't changed for love? Who hasn't dreamt of being changed, transformed by it? I like the ways that God's love works in the sources of inspiration and instruction that have sustained African American life in this country for centuries. Historically, it's been an anchor, a beacon, a promise, a belief. But God's love isn't an easy balm. When God appears in the Old Testament, he is often a source of upheaval, of troubling. He urges a plumbing of the depths, a mining of great spiritual dredge, a stirring up of the smooth surface, an animating of what might appear to be calm. I think this makes sense. Renewal often arises only after a purposeful troubling, as in the African American spiritual wade in the water, which urges faith in the phrase, wade in the water, and then promises redemptive upheaval with what follows. God's gonna trouble the water. Because I'm a poet, and because I believe poets are best when they are speaking through their poems, I'd like to close with a poem. But first, I'll preface it with another anecdote. Some time ago, while traveling in rural Georgia and South Carolina for research, I found myself visiting many sites that testify to the barbaric reality of slavery as one of this country's founding institutions. I stayed in a former plantation that still sits on thousands of acres of beautiful, unredisturbed land. I visited the unmarked site of many a long ago slave auction. I toured on a small boat the former rice-growing marshland which enslaved blacks had been made to engineer and labor in order to sustain the wealth of slaveholders. I also visited 2 or 3 small praise houses where blacks met for worship and fellowship in the days of slavery, and where their descendants continue to meet for the same reasons today. On the last night of this trip, I attended a ring shout where the deep faith and abiding courage of the enslaved was honored in song and dance. Needless to say, my heart was heavy with sorrow and disturbance, but also full of gratitude for the long and ongoing contribution African Americans have made to the principles of freedom and justice in this country. It was a complicated set of feelings, a weighty inner weather that was bolstered by a woman who chose to see me and to invoke the vocabulary of love. Wade in the water for the Geechee Gullah ring shouters. One of the women greeted me. "I love you," she said. She didn't know me, but I believed her, and a terrible new ache rolled over in my chest, like in a room where the drapes have been swept back. "I love you. I love you," as she continued down the hall, past other strangers, each feeling pierced suddenly by pillars of heavy light. "I love you" throughout the performance, in every hand clap, every stomp. "I love you" in the rusted iron chains someone was made to drag, until love let them be unclasped and left empty in the center of the ring. "I love you" in the water where they pretended to wade, singing that old blood-deep song that dragged us to those banks and cast us in. "I love you," the angles of it scraping at each throat, shouldering past the swirling dust motes in those beams of light that whatever we now knew we could let ourselves feel, knew to climb. Oh, woods. Oh, dogs. Oh, tree. Oh, gun. Oh, girl, run. Oh, miraculous, many gone. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Is this love the trouble you promised? In closing, I want to congratulate you on what you have diligently and lovingly accomplished. And I want to challenge you to take the feeling of love out of the realm of the private or intimate and allow it to drive the ways that you see and respond to strangers across all kinds of divides. I want to challenge you to trouble the notion that love is reserved for an elect few, and that a scrap of tolerance is what we will occasionally toss to the rest. Among all the many things you will go on to teach one another and the world, I want you to teach the world you are right now inheriting to love itself in a way it does not yet believe that it can. Thank you.
Wow. Professor Smith, I speak, I know, for everyone here when I say how inspiring and how necessary your words are. So let us contemplate love. So we now have the opportunity to recognize and congratulate outstanding members of the faculty, recipients of Wellesley's Teaching Prize, and named chairs, and those who are retiring. The Panansky Prize for Excellence in Teaching is awarded each year to honor members of our faculty who have demonstrated excellence as teachers. When we consider how Wellesley professors routinely and effortlessly innovate and inspire in their classrooms, to be selected for this prize must be seen as an especially outstanding achievement. As the class of 2018 can attest, and as I can affirm, Wellesley's faculty are immensely dedicated and talented educators, researchers, scholars, artists, and mentors. Throughout the year in my interactions with students and alumni, there's one constant: their eagerness to tell me their story of how a Wellesley professor changed their life and helped them achieve breakthroughs, both academic and personal. So from all of us assembled here today, to the Wellesley College faculty, we thank you for your commitment to the education of the class of 2018. According to the rules for the prize, yes. According to the rules for the prize, the finalists are selected by a student faculty committee on the basis of nominations from students, faculty, and staff. Today we recognize these three faculty: Jenny Olivia Johnson, Associate Professor of Music. Paul McDonald, Associate Professor of Political Science. And Wesley Waters, Diana Chapman Walsh, Assistant Professor of Astronomy. I will now read excerpts from Jenny Olivia Johnson's citation. Associate Professor of Music, Jenny Johnson combines her expansive knowledge of 20th century music and 21st century technology with a dedication to opening up new vistas of creative expression for every student. For Professor Johnson, the classroom and performance space are places for students to challenge not only themselves, but also the assumptions and pre-existing narratives of their fields. Professor Johnson widens and deepens the study of 20th century music to include women and people of color. One student explained that her readings, listening examples, and lectures go beyond the standard narrative of 20th century music. A cutting-edge composer, sound artist, and music scholar, she persuades students to reconsider what music and art can be and to dismantle traditionalist music concepts ingrained into us. As many of her students attest, in her teaching, Professor Johnson reaches well beyond the classroom to ensure that her students, no matter their technical background, have the tools, knowledge, and encouragement to pursue the projects they most care about. One student remarked, "She truly wants to bridge the gap between art and technology and to make sure each student can realize her creative potential." Students praise Professor Johnson for the countless hours she spends helping them write computer programs and set up complicated equipment, often for the first time, and guiding the process for their installations. But she is perhaps most gifted at finding ways to tap into the powerful creative forces that lie within her students, to help them create the music that tells their individual stories. As one student beautifully summarized, Professor Johnson, showed me how the knowledge and skills we learned in her class could be used to create something beautiful and express sentiments that words can't quite capture. For her ability to give every student the knowledge, tools, and support she needs to unleash her creative potential, it is an honor to present Jenny Johnson with the Anna and Samuel Panansky Teaching Prize. I will now read excerpts from Paul MacDonald's citation. When students take even a single course with Associate Professor of Political Science Paul MacDonald, they make a host of discoveries. They see new academic paths open in front of them, learn the keys to critical thinking, and gain insights into our increasingly complex world. Professor MacDonald's course topics range from leadership to military strategy to empires and imperialism, but according to the students, they share a common result. His classes, they say, make them better thinkers and communicators, stronger logicians and debaters, and more savvy consumers of information. He deftly clarifies complex theories and concepts while encouraging us to think critically and ask our own questions, said one. When I read for his and other classes, she added, I hear his voice in my head asking, what's the logic here? What's the counter-argument? Through a rich and rigorous study of political science, Professor MacDonald's courses engage students with the world. He combines historical and contemporary case studies with theory, revealing the enduring relevance and prescience of the study of political science. As one student put it, he shows students how U.S. foreign policy actions have real consequences for the people affected around the globe. Professor MacDonald inspires students to pursue a career path that sorely needs more women in its ranks. His impact on my intellectual development is so strong that I consider him the major reason I plan and have the confidence to pursue a career in international security, said one student, echoing many of her peers. Students see him as an advocate and a mentor who wants them to succeed. Here's how one student put it. In his courses, he highlights women's contributions to the literature and shows that he believes we can also make these types of valuable contributions to the field. For his ability to shape the keenest of thinkers and for his role in encouraging women to envision successful futures in political science and international affairs, it is an honor to present Paul MacDonald with the Anna and Samuel Panansky Teaching Prize. I will now read excerpts from Wellesley Waters' citation. Professor Wellesley Waters' impact on his students is, well, quite literally out of this world. The Diana Chapman Walsh Assistant Professor of Astronomy, Professor Waters, who recently received tenure, not only teaches the science of rockets and how to investigate the slopes of sand dune faces on Mars, he teaches resilience and perseverance in the face of challenge. He teaches teamwork, and he teaches students to recognize the breadth of their capabilities. In courses that include planetary atmospheres and climates and hands-on planetary exploration, Professor Waters also teaches his students one of the most valuable skills for scientists and engineers: how to overcome unforeseen problems. His students learn to work together as a team in project-based courses, such as one in which they must build a craft capable of making scientific observations as it explores Earth. We learn to delegate, to set goals, one student said, explaining, we learn to adapt and think on our feet. We learn to trust each other. We learn to trust ourselves. Students praise his talent for forming cohesive groups capable of taking on what are possibly the most complex and rigorous engineering challenges available at Wellesley. Professor Waters gives every student the knowledge and skills she needs to succeed, as well as the confidence to believe in her own ideas. He works alongside his students, co-authoring major papers with them and preparing them to take on any challenge, from researching Martian meteorite impact craters to landing internships at places like NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His courses merge mathematics, physics, engineering, astronomy, geology, climatology, computer programming, design, and fabrication into one intense course where everyone can be a scientist with a valuable skill set to offer. That's what one student summarized. For his masterful way of widening science and engineering to encompass a world of other skills, it is an honor to present Wellesley Waters with the Anna and Samuel Panansky Teaching Prize. Congratulations. Congratulations again to our Panansky Prize winners. Thank you. So it is our tradition at commencement to announce the names of faculty being recognized with new appointments to endowed chairs. Today, we recognize 9 faculty members. An appointment to an endowed chair is a significant milestone in the academic life of a professor. It recognizes scholarly distinction and honors service to the college and to one's profession. I will ask these faculty to stand and to remain standing so that we can congratulate them. I'd like you to please hold your applause until I've read the names of all of these distinguished faculty members. Gurminder Bogle, Catherine Mills Davis, Chair of Music. Tom Berkey, Ralph Emerson and Alice Freeman Palmer Professorship in Political Science. Dan Chasen, Lorraine C. Wang, Chair in English Literature. Laura Grattan, Jane Bishop, Class of 51, Associate Professorship in Political Science. Margaret Kane, the Denise Kellen, Class of 68, Chair in Health Sciences. Megan Nunez, Nan Walsh Scow, 54, and Howard B. Scow Professorship in the Physical and Natural Sciences. Liza Oliver, Diana Chapman Walsh, Assistant Professorship. Mark Tittel, the Dorothy and Charles Jenkins, Jr., Distinguished Chair in Science. And Sarah Wasserman, Cresa Family Assistant Professorship in Neuroscience. Congratulations to each of you. Today, we honor 24 faculty who are retiring. We have benefited in countless ways from their lifelong dedication to their students, their colleagues, and to the mission of this institution. Through their instruction, research, creative work, and service to the college over many decades, they leave a legacy that will be felt for the years to come. We will greatly miss them, but they will always be part of our community. It's my great honor to recognize these faculty members, all leaders in their respective fields, accomplished scholars or artists, and inspirational educators. Retiring faculty, please stand while I read your names, and everyone, please hold your applause to the end. Connie Bauman, physical education. An expert in sports medicine, she's a staunch advocate for integrating wellness and mind-body connections into the curriculum. Barbara Beatty, education. She is a respected historian of education and of childhood and an advocate for universal preschool education and a supporter of Wellesley's students' development as teachers. James Bezanson, geoscience. His broad research interests connecting geoscience with health and safety range from examining Iraq War syndrome to how road salt contaminates water supplies. Martin Brody, music. A distinguished composer and a historian of early modern music. His special interest lies in teaching that links music with the study of other arts, philosophy, and cultural history. George Kaplan, physics laboratory. He brought his many years of industrial experience in software and electronics to his role at Wellesley and focuses on the physics behind electrical power and the development of new lab instrumentation. Linda Carley, psychology. She is an influential researcher uncovering the effects of pervasive gender stereotypes on women's leadership. Carlos Durian, art. A sculptor and installation artist, he is celebrated for his large stone works, which are often in powerful dialogue with the landscapes they inhabit. Theodore Dukas, physics. Throughout his outstanding collaboration with MIT and his own research, he has made advances in laser spectroscopy of atoms and molecules. Charlene Galarno, women's and gender studies. A leading healthcare scholar who studies gender, race, and class, she has illuminated critical issues of equity and social justice. David Hawkins, geoscience. His authoritative work studies the geological and geochemical processes that shaped the evolution and architecture of continents, including the breakup of continents and the role of volcanism. Michael Hearn, chemistry. With a focus on the methods of synthetic organic chemistry for drug design, his research collaborations have brought together physicians, microbiologists, pharmacologists, and students. Nora Hussey, theater studies. Her theatrical work has engaged students in a deep political and social exploration of people and cultures. She's helped budding directors find their voice, and she established the Wellesley Repertory Theater. Marian Just, political science. She is a leading voice in the study of the complicated relationship between the news media and politics and the public, including how women leaders are covered by the press. Joel Krieger, political science. A prolific writer, he is an eminent scholar of British and European politics, political economy, and globalization. Ruby Lam, Chinese. A Chinese language professor and researcher, she advanced what we know about China's past and present, from the Mongol conquest of China to contemporary issues with China's minority peoples. Fran Molino, Jewish studies and history. She is an international and award-winning authority on Jewish and European history and Jewish life. Janet McDonough, Biological Sciences Laboratory. A specialist in microbiology and ecology, she ensured students in the biological sciences were technologically proficient and expanded student science outreach to the community. Randy Shull, computer science. Professor Shull's research lies at the boundary between mathematics and computer science, and he has advanced areas such as partial orderings, graph algorithms, and combinatorial optimization. Frederick Schultz, mathematics. A prolific collaborator, his work draws on the essential role algebra can play in quantum information theory and quantum computing. Jill Syverson Stork, Spanish. Her special interests include the works of Miguel de Cervantes, author of Don Quixote, and the history, literature, and art of the Spanish Golden Age. Terry Tyler, English. An expansive literary theorist, he examines authors from Edmund Burke through Coleridge to the Southern New Critics. Lynn Vitti, writing program. A versatile writer and wide-ranging teacher, her work spans poetry, fiction, nonfiction, and critical studies of television and articles on rhetoric and composition. Andrew Webb, biological sciences. His work focuses on molecular genetics and gene expression as they pertain to the etiology of human disease, and it's led to the issuance of a dozen patents he has licensed that have been licensed by Wellesley College. Adele Wolfson, physical and natural sciences and chemistry. Her biochemistry research spans fields such as neuroscience and cancer, and her educational research focuses on connections students make in their learning between science and non-science courses. For your many years of service and for the profound impact you have had on your students and on the Wellesley community, you have our deepest gratitude. Thank you to each and every one of you. So this past March, many of you watched a video of Louisiana high school student named Jada Wiltz receiving her Wellesley acceptance. Surrounded by classmates and family, she gazed anxiously at the computer screen. Then, moments later, joy broke across her face. The room went wild, and then the video went viral. One viewer expressed what so many felt when she tweeted, "There is absolutely nothing better than watching someone achieve a dream they've worked so hard for. It gets me every time." It was just over 4 years ago that you, the wondrous purple class of 2018, had your own versions of this moment. Today, you'll no doubt be documenting another dream come true, your progression from Wellesley students to Wellesley alumni. You take your place in what has been called the most powerful women's network in the world, a community like no other. Now you prepare to embark on a new chapter, new opportunities, new challenges, new people, new places, new ideas, and yes, new dreams. From childhood onward, we are asked about our dreams for the future. The degrees you receive today reflect a deep commitment to pursuing those dreams, to doing the hard work that will lead to a happy and meaningful life. How will you direct that energy in the months and years to come? Your answers to that question will go far to shape your lives. It's common to pit dreams against practical considerations. Both sides have fierce proponents. But like so many dichotomies, this one strikes me as deeply false. What's needed isn't one or the other. I urge you to combine the two, to commit to a lifelong path of practical dreaming. Practical dreaming. Now, to some, this may sound like an oxymoron, and I assure you that it's not. In the words of Gloria Steinem, dreams are a form of planning. This year marked the 50th anniversary of the assassination of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This was 1968, a time of tremendous turmoil and division that at times feels not unlike our own. In what remains perhaps his most famous speech, Dr. King spoke of a dream that his 4 children would one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. It's not by chance that he used the word dream. He knew the power of language, and he knew the power of dreams to drive change across time and space. Practical dreams give rise to grander dreams. They are both flower and seed. We saw this at the historic March for Our Lives rally for gun regulation, where Dr. King's 9-year-old granddaughter spoke, and you probably recall her words. She said, "I have a dream that enough is enough." To be sure, the senseless violence continues. We saw another massacre just last month at a high school in Santa Fe, Texas. But despite such horrors, we also have growing reason for hope. Throughout this past year, we've seen the unstoppable power of women's and girls' voices. Against a backdrop of unprecedented activism, against the backdrop of Me Too, against the backdrop of a record number of women running for office, there's even renewed talk that the Equal Rights Amendment could be ratified. This dream, so long deferred, might yet come to pass. You have been part of this, and I could not be prouder. Practical dreams gain power when they are shared. Only then can they take root. Only then can they take flight. Practical dreams are also and necessarily deeply personal. They reflect your unique experiences, talents, and hungers. The world thrives on diversity. The world needs all your dreams. In February, 5 members of this graduating class received Pamela Daniels' Class of '59 fellowships to carry out dream projects during this past year. They ranged from the sciences to the arts, from an analysis of the traditional agricultural fertilizer known as bokashi, to the creation of a solo performance piece about a girl's efforts to become a saint in the Russian Orthodox Church. Together, they are a window into the vast and extraordinary range of gifts that this class brings to the world. The practical dreamer lives at the intersection of hope and reality. She takes to heart the words of our Latin motto, non ministrare sed ministrare, not to be ministered unto, but to minister, even as she cares for and values herself as part of this tapestry. Nowhere is this more evident than in community service. This year, some of you were among the 65 Wellesley students who joined in alternative spring breaks designed to create positive change. Others volunteered at the Middlesex Correctional Center, working with women prisoners on everything from book clubs to strength training. These are just 2 examples of how you are already living your dreams into reality. But what if I don't have a dream, practical or otherwise? Now, some of you may be hearing that whisper of doubt. You may even understandably be feeling a bit exasperated. Yes, I have interests, things I care about, but a dream, an actual dream? Now, I'm graduating, for goodness sakes. Do I need one of those too? Well, let me set your mind at ease. Wherever you are right now, it's exactly the right place to be. Dreams evolve over time. Quite often, perhaps more often than not, your dreams will find you. I've got a story that I think you'll appreciate, and it's about a young woman who was once where you are today, but a long time ago. It was 1912. An English major, she enjoyed a successful college career. After graduation, she struggled to find her way. For a time, she worked in department stores. An ill-fated marriage followed. Her much older husband had a drinking problem, and he did some time in prison. Not exactly an auspicious start. But this is what life after Wellesley looked like for Marjory Stoneman Douglas. That name is no doubt familiar. You know it from the Florida high school that bears her name, the site of the shooting that sparked today's Never Again movement. You are likely less familiar with Marjory Stoneman Douglas herself. What accounted for this honor? Who did that confused young woman go on to become? Now here's one answer from a British news outlet, and I quote, "In the history of the American environmental movement, there have been few more remarkable figures than Marjory Stoneman Douglas, journalist and writer, women's activist before her time, but first and foremost, the champion of Florida's fragile and irreplaceable Everglades." All this very impressive, right? Yet little of it was planned. Douglas's involvement with the Everglades didn't even begin until she was into her 50s. And I don't mean 1950s, into her 50s. And then only by chance. An established writer, she'd worked for her father's Miami newspaper and went on to write short stories for the magazine. She was asked to write a book on the Miami River, and she felt that the terrain was too small. She asked, what about the Everglades? The result was her classic work, The Everglades, River of Grass, reissued just last year on its 70th anniversary. Decades later, Douglas would reflect back on this moment. There, on a writer's whim and an editor's decision, I was hooked with the idea that would consume me for the rest of my life. In telling this story, I don't mean to encourage passivity. Of course you have to take action. That goes without saying. But it's equally important to stay open, alert to unexpected calls. Never has this been truer than it is right now. Sometimes it seems like every day brings a fresh assault on our most cherished values. Our distinguished alumna, Madeleine Albright, has warned that fascism poses a growing threat to democratic institutions. This is the subject of her new book. Women, people of color, undocumented people and immigrants, religious minorities, gender nonconforming people. These are just a few of the groups that continue to be targeted in brutal and demeaning ways. There's a terrible irony in the fact that as I urge you to commit to your dreams, some hundreds of thousands of young immigrant dreamers face an uncertain future. Such injustices only affirm my charge to you today. If the world is broken, it's up to us to repair it. Throughout history, women have played outsized roles in perilous times. As the rising generation of Wellesley women, you now stand ready to join them. No two of you will travel the same path. You'll be teachers, lawyers, and physicians, writers, researchers, mothers. Some of you will join the growing legion of women running for elected office. Indeed, one of you, or maybe more, could still become the United States, a woman president of the United States, a role that is sadly still open. Many of you will do more than one of these things, at once or sequentially. Regardless of what your future holds, my hope for you is this: that whatever you do, wherever you go, you claim your voice and your power. This, you see, is both your right and your responsibility. Dreaming is hard work, and yes, there'll be moments of elation, moments like the ones that Jada Wilt's class of 22 captured in that viral video. But there will also be dark times, challenges, and disappointments. At times, you'll feel afraid. Rest assured, this is normal, part of what it means to live your dreams. Those of you who attended our African Women's Leadership Conference earlier this year got the message loud and clear from former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the first elected female head of state in Africa. President Sirleaf even went so far as to suggest Your dreams should scare you. Recently, I received a beautiful gift from students in our book arts program, the first copy of a limited edition book that honors Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. It concludes with this powerful quote, which I urge you to carry with you. Be a nuisance when it counts. Do your part to inform and stimulate the public to join your action. Be depressed, discouraged, and disappointed at failure and the disheartening effects of ignorance, greed, corruption, and bad politics. But never give up. And really, why should you? You leave this beautiful campus equipped with a liberal arts education that is second to none, the best possible preparation for these tumultuous times. You have forged friendships that will last a lifetime, one strand in a network of fierce support that spans generations and spans the world. You have honed tremendous talents in service to your values, in service to a future that you will go far to create. Much that lies ahead is unknown, but one thing is clear to me. Purple Class of 2018, you are the practical dreamers that the world needs. I am so proud of who you are and who you will become. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. So now is the moment. Provost Shannon will now present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
In the commencement program, we have listed honors and prizes earned by many of our seniors. Although we will not read honors as we call names for diplomas, we draw the attention of families and friends to the list and invite you to share our pride in the many achievements of these students.
Will candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please rise?
Madam President, it is the privilege of my office to present to you, on behalf of the faculty of Wellesley College, the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
By the authority of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, vested in the Board of Trustees, and by them delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts and admit you to all the rights, dignities, and responsibilities to that degree.
Jane Abernathy. Nisreen Ebusidu. Zen Aburish. Mia Lillian Akamando. Noor Adra. Shahara Ahmed. Yasmin Akavan. Kayla Brianna Ali. Amaya Vashon Allen. Cassandra Marion Allen. Nisreen Al-Khadi. Nina Marie Amadio. Kirthana Anandraj. Mairani Anaya. Nicole Esther Anderson. Layla Anderson Washington. Victoria Ivanova Angelova. Surisadai Akit. Stephanie Vanya Vialta Armstrong. Abina Asari. Samari Awani. Margaret Ani Babikian. Emily Kate Beda. Fatumata Iremide Ireayo Ba. Sydney Bai. Tanya Bakshi. Anjali Nina Banerjee. Mira Bunzel. Sonali Bunzel. Sarah Rose Barden. Madeline Anna Borowski. Priyanka Eleanor Basak. Lauren Nicole Baisley. Caroline Grace Beatrice. Annalie Joan Bolio. Alexandra Beam. Breslin Shea Bell. Juliette Bellacosa. Kiara Daniela Benak. Sarah Benamara. Anjali Naomi Benjamin Webb. Grace Catherine Bernard. Yanka Bhatia. Madeline Sarah Bianchi. Danielle Harbin Black. Laura Christine Blaylock. Nicholas F. Blinsler. Ana Ines Beatriz Prieto Borromeo. Alexis Boyd. Emily Jane Boyk. Lara Lyons Brennan. Emma Grace Brewer-Wallen. Chelsea Amanda Brown. Shannon May Brown. Melissa Jane Brule. Sydney Arcel Brumfield. Lila Ann Bain Brousseau. Alexandra Claire Bueno. Catherine Renee Burns. Alexis Tae-Yun Burton. Carly Ray Basso. Rachel Bird. Sahaley Cabin Penix. Anna Buckley Cahill. Madeline Marie Catherine Cahillane. Marissa Josephine Caldwell. Margaret Carol Kalma. Jyoti Seethal Campbell. Kelsey Renee Campbell. Tashay Renee Khadija Campbell. Henkel Oliveros. Ariana Louise Carter. Ivana Angelica Castro. Natalie Danielle Catalan. Catherine Chan. Dominique Renee Chaplin. Paige Nicole Cheatham. Annie Chen. Chun Chen. Cynthia Yi Chen. Irina Chen. Mary Yu Yao Chen. Nisha Chen. Patricia Yan Chen. Teresa Chen. Tiffany Chen. Vivian May Chen. Yiling Chen. Jess Drisky Chirail. Suma Cheru. Sophia Chiang. Christina Chu. Jennifer Cho. Audrey Mi-young Choi. Jong Hyun Choi. Ye Rin Chu. Fiona Kahe Chung. Clara Cogswell. Ariel Tamar Cohen. Mackenzie Cole. Madlena Hedwig Collins. Haley Connor. Anne Mariah Conran. Liliana Wysin Considine. Hannah Tyler Marie Contreras. Alexis Marissa Mooney Corcoran. Jillian Connolly Courtney. Shane Cox. Genevieve Michelle Crotty. Patricia Cruz. Kendra Sweep. Meredith Beth Chuyen Curry. Isabel Ann D'Alessandro. Leah Julianne Davis. Savannah Ashley Ann Davis. Shivani Amanda Dayal. Julia Uma Dia. Brigitte DeMello. Lauren Falls Dennis. Kamaria Demi de Remus. Siona Radha Dev. Claire Sheridan Devlin. Sophia Elise Dillon Davidson. Pooja Dewaka. Duong Don. Rosemary Spalding Dodd. Rachel Dodell. Jinyang Dong. Elizabeth Mary Dorothy. Alison Nicole Drakowitz. Georgiana Du. Michelle Duan. Anushri Dugar. Shauna Dunham. Hannah Durnan. Alison Carver Edwards. Anna Matthias Ehrlich. Leah Beth Schwartzberg Eisenberg. Audrey Hannah Elkus. Audrey Elizabeth Ellis. Elizabeth Michelle Engel. Alejandra Irene Escamilla Saldana. Natalie Liliana Espitia.
Serena Fan. E. Claire Feng. Gina Marie Farolito. Andrea Han Ferreira. Julia Fickus. Siobhan Ryan Finley. Margaret Catherine Flemings. Audrey Falk. Marley Rose Forest. Taylor Michelle Fortnum. Nadine Caroline Franklin. Olivia Kristen Funderburg. Lauren Marie Futami. Gauri Salil Gadhukuri. Jacqueline Ray Gallion. Matangi Ganesh. Trisha Garcia. Leslie Gates. Mebatsun Seleshi Gebri. Michelle Gelberger. Chelsea Amelia Gell. Emerson Goldstein. Ariana Cristina Gonzalez Bonias. Patricia Marie Grayman. Abigail Catherine Briani Grant. Caroline Ann Grassi. Jennifer Nicole Gubner. Abigail Mary Guitar. Taylor Beth Gunderson. Kanupriya Gupta. Madhu Gupta. Lydia Jane Gutterman. Emma Catherine Georgi. Jake Young Hun. Rachel Elmore Hale. Arella Haluzzi. Erin Michelle Halvey. Emily Sarah Hamilton. Hans Lydia Hahn. Slui Ha. Caitlin Hardwick. Sienna Hammond Harlan. Natasha Emma Hott. Ava Marie Hayek. Christina Ha. Lori La Yi Hee. Danielle Alexandra Himes Waldron. Grace Catherine Hellstrom. Catherine Carton Hemp. Rosamond Emma Hurling. Amanda Beth Hernandez. Mariela Hernandez Cruz. Eleanor Higgins. Nancy Ho. Leah Elizabeth Hobart. Margaret Main Schwem Hoke. Sabrina Teresa Holland. Jacqueline Lee Woo Hom. Helen Hong. Taylor Lee Hood. Ayana Aris Hopkins. Abigail Elizabeth Howard. Maisie Louisa Pasco Howell. Molly Margaret Hoyer. Dana Lee Xiao. Caroline Samantha Shu. Genevieve Wong. Jean Wong. Kelly Wong. Renee Wong. Hannah Lee Hubbard. Sarah Beth Hudson. Madeline Yvette Hughes. Margaret Ann Hughes. Serenity Davana Hughes. Carol Beata Hundle. Sonia Hupalo. Nikki Zhenhua. Kathlina Pabalate and Choco. Julida Elizabeth Ia. Basma Rabi Jaber. Andrea Jackson. Diana Cameron Jackson. Kayla Pei Zhang. Maria Alejandra Hermillo. Margaret Mary Flannery Jennings. Aditi Jaesha Javeri. Brenda G. Ivy Zhang. Natalie Ju Jin, student bursar. Catherine Ann Johnson. Tatiana Johnson. Emily Marvel Johnston. Laura Jones. Olivia K. Jocelyn. Jasmine Kaduthadu. Jessica Kao. Katrina Zoe Cow. Lubov Kapkwa. Silpa Karapanini. Shanze Atif Kazmi. Shannon Natsumi Kearney. Madison Marie Kelly. Vanessa Martine Kelly. Kate Elizabeth Keneally. Selma Benazir Khalil. Atiya Faria Khan. Maria Mansour Khan. Maria Rita Corey. Mayu Madeline Kikuchi. Angela Ungyan Kim. Callie Ewan Kim. Hope Justice Kim. Jae Yoon Kim. Joanna Songen Kim. Madeline Yoonhee Kim. Mina Kim. Sharon Soo Yoon Kim. Sora Leslie Kim. Stephanie Soo-jung Kim. Adia Davis King. Isabella Mariah King. Laurel Kinman. Alexandra Julia Klufis. Melise Marie Knowles. Chloe Ann Colbert. Francesca Mary Cordy. Rebecca Danielle Costin. Sonia Ainlessly Kretschmar. Callan Francis Nicole Krivanko. Angel Quo. Elizabeth Sursick Kissel.
Olivia Ann Lafferty. Samantha Leigh Lonavy. Colleen Sullivan Larkin. Linda Catherine Lazo. Alice Unsum Lee. Jessica Lee. Juyan Lee. Marion Bordam Lee. Minjin Lee. Nadi Lee. Priscilla Ann Lee. Sungmin Lee. Yelim Lee. Yoon Ji Lee. Margaret May Lees. Sarah Catherine Legrad. Andrea Alexandria Leon. Johanna Kathleen Leslie. Sabrina Leon. Yona Eden Levin. Catherine J. Liu. Sarah Abigail Lewittis. Anran Annie Lee. Arena Yinsum Lee. Julia Lee. Yuja Liang. Yurong Lim. Phyllis Lin. Carolyn Liu. Heng Liu. Diana Libantu. Elizabeth Marie Loxterkamp. Michelle Liu. Lisa Luca. Gabriela Luviano. Jennifer Sierra Lyon Mackey. Katie Ma. Shayna Ma. Laura McClay. Maya Madhavan. Anjali Tamboli Madok. Chetna Mahajan. Zahara Malik. Amanda Mae Manning. Kathra Lukshona Menakaran. Melina Mardueno. Aliana Marostica. Caroline Sorensen Martin. Zoe Maddox. Malia Peyton Maxey. Jordan Mason Mayfield. Maeve Mary Kennedy McAllister. Sarah Margaret McBride. Maureen Joanne McCord. Jacqueline Claire McMahon. Eliza D. McNair. Margaret Ann Mead. Ilana Meeker. Mahum Mehdi. Ahilia Mehta. Tatiana Melo. Janelle Arobla Mendoza. Marissa Menzel. Clelly Grace Merchant. Sarah Nicole Michelson. Esther Miller. Grace Ming. Maknoor Mirza. Margareta Claire Rothwalk Mitchell. Alina Sen Mitra. Alini Wada Mitsuzawa. Maggie Rose Middleman. Helena Astrid Mobley. Olivia Jean Moeller. Tanushri Mohan. Manuela Molina Pineda. Katrina Montales. Monique Alexia Montut. Emily Moore. Kiran Deepa Morty. Veronica Mora. Madison Alexandra Morgenside. Daniela Yvette Moran. Caroline Morris. Lauren Irene Mostrom. Alina Babette Mota. Jennifer Mu. Mana Muchaka. Maya Lauren Muldowney. Jenna Irene Mulrennan. Catherine Ann Mergola. Sydney Marie Musser. Miriam Mustafa. Anjali Nagapali. Alina Lauren Najab. Monica Naranjo. Sarah Sophia Natividad. Alondra Navarro. Sarah Catherine Nealon. Emily Jane Neal. Margaret Sullivan Neal. Sarah Marie Netherton. Isabel Nater. Ellie Newstein. Juliana Michelle Neves. Fiona Shi Hui Eng. Vicky Nayan. Karen Shiping Ni. Emily Nip. Marianne Wahito Njau. Natalie Joyce Norman. Molly Ray Nyland. Sarah Nazal. Lillian Caroline Odekirk. Zilpa Angeline Odwar. Fallon Catherine Ozer. Mina S. O. Yunsa O. Marissa Okoli. Mary Patricia Olin. Emily Claire Olson. Sophie Rose Olson. Daniela Andraskova. Christina Marie Oni. Kaylee Madison Osujo. Jennifer Ejama Otiono. Yutunde Oyenuga. Alexa Hope Pagliaro. Rachel Pack. Yuanjin Pan. Padma Paramita. Juyeon Park. Hope Elizabeth Parker. Melanie Tipaporn Passaretti. Zarina Chipta Patwa. Hannah Elizabeth Peltz Smalley. Sylvia Eleonora Pera. Carla Patricia Perez. Anna Marion Furch. Kaylee Sabrina Perez. Sarah Jordan Pluchansky. Amanda Elizabeth Pollock. Emma Elizabeth Shylock Postel. Madeline Bolin Potosky. Anya Prakesh. Yada Pruksachatkin. Renee Nicole Hertzker. Rosalind Peitel. Hang Amber Kin. Madison Grace Quick.
Holly Nicole Rayborn. With Nampet Ramanudam. Talia Celeste Ramirez. Reina Minul Rampali. Raisa Rani. Hannah Rasuli. Alize Zoha Rof. Ariana Regalado. Julia Regier. Matthias I. Remillard. Monica Dorothy Reno. Sloan Jillian Golden Rice. Alexa Riabueno Naylor. Julie Ann Ritchie. Elizabeth Ann Rizzoni. Sydney Rose Robertson. Emma Rogaleski. Carolyn Mackenzie Rogan. Paulina Romero. Lauren Ariane Rondestvet. Victoria Elizabeth Roth. Sabrina Abigail Ruiz. Lauren Nicole Russo. Clara Castle Saxa. Aroshi Segal. Claire Julia Salerno. Alif Naz Samanja. Marcel Gloria Saman. Gwendolyn Sands. Jocelyn Marie Santiago. Mahek Kumal Sarang. Maya Saupa. Eleanor Savage. Natalie Radia Syed. Catherine Irene Shower. Bojena Scheidel. Hannah Brink Schmidt. Hope Schneider. Anne Zong Schnitzer. Woohoo! Take your time, Cookie. Anne Burnham Schwartz. Emma Gabrielle Price Schwartz. Leah Francis Schwartz. Rachel Schwartz. Alondra Abigail Cerna. Layla Shaban. Haley Shanahan. Diva Sharma. Sumaya Shek. Li Shen. Moja Shen. Shen Yu. Jessica Shin. Elizabeth Ann Shumway. Anya Gabriela Silva. Kritika Sivaramakrishnan. Jenna Shogren. Clara Stava Sorensen. Paloma Soriano. Magdalena Souter. Ainsley Bernice Dugan St. Clair. Leilani Stacy. Delilah Asha Stanfield. Catalina Staines. Sydney Francis Stento. Sydney Alexis Stewart. Maura Eliza Sticko Ivans. Sabrina Stickney Morris. Hannah Marie Stiles. Jennifer Leanne Stobbs Vergara. Megan Claire Stormberg. Lily Streeter. Georgia Eleni Stylianides. Janessa Aaron Sullivan. Sophia Hoyhuen Sun. Anjali Marie Sundaram. Katrina Suntan. Maya Svanberg. Samantha Marie Sylvander. Elizabeth Howland Taft. Amelia Tam. Talia Rachel Tandler. Jesslyn Tunnedy. Gabrielle Renee Taylor. Julia Alba Tazartes. Sophia Odile Tu. Anna Rebecca Thomas. Samantha Noel Thomas. Anna Maria Thompson. Amal Tijani. Diana Tosca. Azalia Crochet Rosas. Cece Sue. Rebecca Alif Tuzel. Delaney Ugelstad. Emmy Urban. Diederik Vanderknap. Arlene Vargas. Tanvi Varma. Jane Vaughn. Jacqueline Vasquez. Ariana Vergos de Zavala. Gabriela Luisa Vizi. Farida Murad Virani. Fabiana Vivacqua. Christina Iron Wong. Alyssa Ja Wong. Theron Wong. Jennifer Wang. Lily Wong. Michelle Zhuchun Wong. Suzanne Wong. Ziyu Wang. Julia Pearl Warner. Madeline Ryan Warshaw. Hannah Way. Noah Ace Weinstein. Elizabeth A. Wendell. Sophie Mascoli Worthen. Liliana Nicole Westort. Emily Jean Whitehead. Rose Whitlock. Vanessa Evangeline McFall Willoughby. Rebecca Ann Wintrick Knox. Jocelyn Wong. Rachel Hemin Wu. Catherine Joan Woodhouse. Lindsay Wu. Xiaofan Wu. Yuzhua Victoria Wu. Rachel Alma Wolf. Lingjuan Xia. Jenny Xia. Shiping Zhu. Vivienne Zhu. Helena Zihang Yan. Katie Jin Yan. Cindy Yang. Elvie Yang. Subin Yang. Stephanie Ye. Harshita Venkata Sai Yaram Reddy. Jamie Yip. Burim Yoon. Jacqueline Young. Eleanor Alice Zagorin. Margaret Patricia Zarlengo. Laura Zaworski. Isaac Jasper Zirkle. Elena Yuling Zhang. Runshan Jenny Zhang. Sarah Zhang. Wenshin Sharon Zhang. Kathy Zhang. Valerie Zhao. Chuchi Zhong. Linda Weilin Zhou. Haoling Holly Zhu. Ting Zhu. Alyssa Zosin.
Congratulations and best wishes to the class of 2018. I salute you. So now will you please all stand? It's our tradition to close commencement with the singing of the first and fourth stanzas of America the Beautiful, written by Catherine Lee Bates. Professor Bates was a graduate in the Wellesley class of 1880 and a distinguished member of our English department. Margaret Lees, from class of 2018, will lead us as we all join in singing America the Beautiful.
Beautiful for spacious skies, for amber
Will you kindly remain seated after the benediction until the trustees, the faculty, and the graduates have recessed. I will now invite Dean Tiffany Steinwert back up to deliver the benediction.
Friends, let's be together one last time. Called forth by love's unfailing optimism and justice's persistent demand, we now stand ready to embark upon a new journey. In the days to come, may we hold fast to this moment of gratitude and awe. May we claim our voice and our power as right and responsibility. May we commit ourselves to a lifelong pursuit of practical dreaming. And emboldened by love's courageous grace, may we ever seek to heal the world's deep reserves of pain and shame with the simple refrain of I love you, I love you, I love you. Let us go forth now with a sure and confident knowledge that while as individuals we can make a difference, together we can change the world. Amen.